Hey Tenno, 7rep here with my second Warframe video. It's late October and we're nearing the end of Naberus Nights. If you're taking a break from the Vallis Undermind to grind out mother tokens to trade with daughter, maybe you're stocking up on sentient surge mods to sell for platinum in a few months, or keen to fill your orbiter with stalker noogles, you might as well do it while hunting for some good secondary mods exclusive to the Cambion Drift. Those are the 6060 IPS mods, Carnus Stinger, Jugular Spines, and Saxum Spittle. Those and other Cambion Drift set mods are available only for Mother's Tier 3 Endless bounties. This video offers a primer on how those bounties work with some things to keep in mind, a dive into the cumulative drop chances of these mods, and my personal build for running these missions. Let's start with how these bounties work. During each bounty cycle, Mother shows one of two types of Tier 3 bounties. Both types are endless, going however many rounds you're willing to go. Each round has 3 phases, and the requirements for completing each phase scale with the squad size. One type is called strip mining. In strip mining, each round consists of 3 phases of excavations, with each phase needing multiple excavators to complete. The other type is called artifact hunter. In artifact hunter, each round consists of a corpus researcher phase, a purifier phase, and a tumor phase in a random order. Let's go over both types real quick so you have a sense of what loadout to bring. Though since all Demos bounties involve Demos infested, blast and gas damage are your friends and they're resistant to viral. Type 1, strip mining. These are more or less your straightforward excavation missions like so many you've done in Warframe, but a few things worth noting. First, when someone gets near the phase's location, excavators automatically pop up on their own timers. Only excavation completion matters, no partial credit for destroyed excavators. Since you're dealing with infested, you mostly need to worry about melee swarms surrounding your excavators, and sometimes those swarms emerge as cocoons right on top of an excavator. Having the ability to protect excavators and control a nuke swarms are pluses. I, of course, bring my boy Frost. Finally, these excavators don't give cryotic. Even Deviri excavators do, but these don't. Type 2, Artifact Hunter. As mentioned, Artifact Hunter bounties have a different objective for each round's 3 phases, the Corpus Researcher phase, the Purifier phase, and the Tumor phase. They're in a random order for the first round, and they keep that order for each round afterward. The Corpus Researcher phase starts out with the Corpus Researcher guy hanging out on Demos calling out for help. When you arrive, he first needs you to kill infested and collect samples. Once you've collected enough samples, amount depending on squad size, you need to deposit him at wherever he is. Then the second phase starts, where you need to protect him and his drone until he's uploaded all the data you collected. One particularly important thing to note is that there's a glitch or weird thing that can happen, where the researcher is stuck waiting on everyone to deposit samples. If that happens, make sure everyone tries to deposit, even if they were elsewhere and not playing the objective, and especially the host, because I think I've seen the problem being that the host hadn't actually tried to deposit. If everyone tries and he's still stuck, which I've seen happen at least once, then you're soft locked. You just gotta, leave and start over. For the purifier phase, you need to feed power cells into a purifier. When you do, an energy pulse goes out that wakes up a bunch of polyps in the ground. You need to collect as many polyps as you can while they're active before the energy pulse draws back in and they all turn dormant again, which makes this a bit of a parkour race. Collecting them is as simple as interacting with them as you're running or sliding by. Thankfully, no animation lock to halt your momentum. The amount you need to collect again is based on squad size. Even though this phase also uses power cells, you're not going to see the power cells on your map or mini-map in the same way you would with an excavator mission. And if you're anything like me, if you're just kind of like in the zone or watching YouTube in the background or something, you might sort of space out on occasion. So, keep that in mind. And I find the Kavak Grace mod from the Gas City Secret Labs is fairly handy for this phase, to keep from losing time if I accidentally hardfall right next to a polyp that I jumped and tried to collect, just in case it happens to become inactive before I'm able to recover from the hardfall. And finally, for the tumor type, they're like the hive mission type in the star chart. To start the phase, you need to try damaging the big tumor, even though you're always told it's invulnerable. Once you do that, a search circle appears around the area. You need to find 3 smaller infested tumors within a specified time. As far as I can tell, this is the only objective that doesn't change based on squad size. Energy trails emerge from the main hive toward the 3 tumors. Follow them, then destroy them from up close. Once it's destroyed, go back to the main hive, destroy that thing, then open the loot crate within, then that's complete. Rewards. Each phase gives a reward, and on each round the reward tier increases. Here are the tables from the wiki page on screen. Rounds 1 and 2 use the Rotation A reward table, as shown here. The first phase uses column A from the table, the second uses column B, and the third uses column C. The Cambion Drift melee mod sets drop here. Round 3 uses the Rotation B table, shown here, with the same phase column mapping. The Cambion Drift melee and Warframe set mods drop here. Rounds 4 and higher use the Rotation C table, shown here, again with the same phase and column mapping. The Cambion Drift Warframe and secondary set mods drop here, and of course it's the secondary sets that we care about for this video. So to mentally calibrate how long of a run you're willing to go, let's talk cumulative odds over a given mission. And when I speak of cumulative odds, I mean the odds that something you want to have happen will actually happen at least once over a series of chances. So the secondary mods, being in the drop table starting on the first phase of round 4, means that they start being possible on the 10th phase overall. It takes around 30 minutes to get to that first drop chance, assuming a rough average of 3 minutes per phase, give or take, which is good to know for doing that mental calibration of how long a run you're willing to go. Getting to the cumulative odds requires knowing the individual odds. Starting on round 4, each of those mods has a 2.56 drop chance from phase 1, a 2.5 chance from phase 2, and a 2.5 chance from phase 3. Since all three of the secondary mods have the same odds, let's stick with one for a running example, Saxon Spittle, the mod I struggled longest to get. But what I say here applies equally to Karna Stinger and Jegula Spines. This lovely spreadsheet on screen shows the cumulative odds of getting Saxon Spittle in a given run, along with rough time estimates. Pause the video if you want a deeper look, but basically, if you spend a little over an hour of your time running this mission, there's a cumulative 30% chance that Saxon Spittle will drop it all. Making that chart helped me with the mental preparation of, okay, I'm willing to go ahead and try another endless run for around the next hour. Almost a third chance I'm going to get it this time. Well, let's see what happens. Of course, that assumes a bunch of things about whether or not you're going to have a squad that will last with you that long, or if you're able to do it on your own for that long. But also, one thing worth noting is that there's a weird glitch or problem that can happen where sometimes if you're not the host and the host decides to leave, it's 50-50 on whether or not the host migrates or the host leaving forces everyone to leave as well. Something to be aware of if you happen to see that the host is going toward the exit. Even if you think you can run longer, maybe you also want to go ahead and head to the exit as well. The build I bring to these missions. Since I don't know what sort of squad I'll be in or how long folks will stick around, I build assuming the worst case, that I'm in a full squad but everyone else is farming for gems or fish or tags. Which rarely happens, but it makes for a great build craft exercise. I use Frost, a similar build in my Plague Star video. The key bits: Nourish as the Helminth over Ice Wave, like I explained in the Plague Star video, and the Frost augments of Icy Avalanche for the Overguard and status immunity, plus for keeping Cascadia Overcharge active on my secondary weapon, Chilling Glow for point defense, especially great for excavation since most infested don't shoot the globe so it won't go down, and to prevent sudden spawns from overwhelming an excavator, and Biting Frost for the extra crit chance on frozen enemies. Other notable mods: Kavat's Graze to keep from hard falls, as I mentioned earlier. Augur Reach, I can use any Augur mod to create Overshield to proc Cascadia Overcharge, but I'm prioritizing range over strength in this build. And Archon Stretch for energy regen proc by my Sentinel. For my Arcanes, Mulg Augmented because it's a long mission, so I'll get the 250 kills needed to max the power strength butt to 60% well before we reach phase 10. And Arcane Ice Storm since I'll be freezing hordes often. For my companion, I redid my Death Cube Prime since the Plague Star video after realizing that I didn't need any defensive mod since I basically give it permanent Overguard. And I equip it with the Tazza Core with high electricity status chance to proc Archon Stretch for energy regen. And for weapons, the only important one to note is my secondary, a dual Coda Torsica modded for Blast with Cascadia Overcharge. Between the mods I have on the weapons and buffs from Cascadia Overcharge and Biting Frost, I regularly get orange crits on frozen enemies, and most of my enemies are going to be frozen. Not that you need to use that particular gun for this, plenty of other secondaries who work for this build and environment. Use whatever you like. If you're still here, thanks for hanging out with me. Got tips, thoughts, or builds to share about this? Please comment to let me know. I also welcome thoughts on how I could improve these videos, because I want to put out at least 2 more before the end of this year. Maybe some shorts too, to see how those feel to make. As an aside, my partner and I are donating to civil liberties causes this season. So let's say if I get 10 likes or comments or even dislikes, we'll do an extra $100. That said, happy hunting, Tenno.